cleaning out our sinuses of viruses by using one of those goofy Neti Pots? Yeah, no, I used those for a very, very, very long time, but during the winter, it gets a little bit tough, okay? I'm going to level with you guys on this one, specifically the one that I was using. They were the pre-mixed saline packages. You can get them at literally every single grocery store that you can possibly think of. Superstore, Safeway, Costco. Okay, everybody has them, okay? I used them in the morning. It was great, okay? It was flush everything out, but when it's exceptionally dry, when it's exceptionally cold, okay, it sometimes is tough because sometimes the water will go in one nostril and then it won't come out the other. But when I was working in warehouses, when I was working in older facilities, when I was working outside, okay, especially in some of the more dirty, dusty areas during the summertime, especially, okay, if you'd ever get debris, if you were breathing in not clean air, okay, all the time, which is very likely you are in some form or fashion. If you're working in an old office building, if you're working in any of the places that I described before, you're probably breathing in some stuff that's probably gonna make you sick due to the accumulation of that. So I would recommend this for literally everybody. Not every single day, obviously, because it gets to be a lot. It doesn't really, amount to a lot of money or anything like that. It's just you don't allow your body to build up a specific amount of resistance to the different viruses that might be coming into your body as well. And then you just end up relying on the system and you create a certain response in your body where you just want to create more snot and blockage. It's kind of gross, but you know what? Hey, that's besides the point. But try it every once in a while. I would recommend it. Do you know that one of the most important ways to reduce your chance of succumbing to a virus is cleaning the nasal passages or throat? Yeah, imagine that. That's where you take in the most particles. Not through the skin, okay? Unless you are a mud wrestler or something like that. But no, you clean out the places that get dirty, don't get sick. Imagine that, simple as. Fostering oral and nasal hygiene, ladies, is exceptionally more effective than masking and sanitizing everything. What? You take the responsibility on yourself and you're able to be in control of your own health destiny? Imagine that. Dr. Peter McCullough. Is that a banned word on YouTube? Don't know. Going to continue to press the envelope on this. A highly credentialed and published cardiologist, internist, and epidemiologist says this strategy alone has shown to reduce progressive disease by up to 75%. Wow, but he's not one of the experts, though. Anyways, some viruses live in the nasopharynx, the part of the throat that goes up into the nasal cavity, for any duration of time, up to 10 days, before causing respiratory problems and inflammation. However, many compounds kill viruses upon contact, such as hydrogen peroxide. Don't snort that and don't put that in your neti pot, though. That is a horrible idea. Iodine, essential oils, and saline salt water. That's what I would recommend. And obviously, there's going to be a guideline if you just like to try it. Just like to see if it's for you. Okay, there are various solutions that have been used as prophylactic and healing measures for COV. It's best to use distilled water, as tap water can contain an amoeba called Naegleria fowleri, which is able to trigger a dangerous brain infection. Now, don't be thinking that you start squirting the water up your nose once and you're going to die of brain cancer. It's not going to happen, okay? You live in an area with relatively clean filtered water, okay? Sorry, folks in Flint, Michigan, or in the third world, but it's generally fine. Additionally, tap water has minerals that can and have bacteria that irritate nasal cavities. Yeah, obviously. Don't be taking scoops out of the public pool or anything dumb like that, but here's a solution, okay? No questions needed. Ugh. 2 teaspoons of betadine, an iodine compound, and 6 ounces of water. Use a half teaspoon of Lugol's iodine instead. Okay, would you guys have a sponsorship deal? Or half to 1 tablespoon of 3% food grade hydrogen peroxide and 8 ounces of pure warm water. I wouldn't recommend starting with that. Or 1 teaspoon of colloidal silver in 8 ounces of pure warm water. We'll be talking about that later in the week. Maybe tomorrow? Don't know. Use a neti pot to rinse the sinus cavity using a few ounces of solution per nostril. if you're going to be getting a Neti Pot, they're probably going to be providing you with packets of a solution. So I don't know why you'd need to be creating one for yourself, but that's totally up to you. Oh, to prevent burning the nasal cavity, stir a quarter to a half a teaspoon of kosher or unrefined salt into the solution until dissolved. Yeah, there you go. Maybe that's for the silver iodine or hydrogen peroxide. After you're done bleaching your hair, just drain it off into a pot and then stick it up your nose. See what happens. Don't have to worry about the coof taking your taste buds away. Seeking to prevent or aid the body in illness. No, I'm not trying to get even sicker. No. Do a nasal rinse or nasal spray with the solution above, followed by mouthwash every time you're in a densely populated public place or have a known exposure. Hey, wait a minute. I've just been using mouthwash first thing in the morning when I wake up, okay, to coincide with brushing as well, because it works as kind of an additional breath freshener. Not that I'm, embarrassed by the charcoal toothpaste or toothbrushes that I use, but I think Listerine does a pretty good job of keeping your mouth minty fresh. But I never really put two and two together that it would actually work as a disease preventative. Makes sense. I just never put two and two together. If you have an active infection, rinse up to 4 times daily. That's getting to be a lot, though, okay? I would just say once in the morning, maybe once at night, but you do you, obviously. But this is just from somebody who's used the Neti Pot on and off for about 5-ish years to great success. Keep in mind, overuse of nasal and oral virucides, sure, has a potential to negatively impact the microbiome within the sinus cavity. That's why I see 4 times daily, and I'm like, no, that's very silly. The delicate balance of microflora inhibiting the area can be disrupted with constant exposure to antimicrobials such as iodine, colloidal silver, and hydrogen peroxide. Exactly. It's that balance between getting your body used to things and then also, just washing away the excess dirt and filth, okay? Because there's some people out there that think, if you just take a handful of dirt and you eat it, then you're just going to be good for the year because you'll have all of the allergens exposed to you. That is silly. Unless, of course, that's a part of one of your tribe's rituals or something ridiculous like that. Let's just read a little bit more of this. Nebulizing. I have no idea what this is, so we're going in blind. Can offer a powerful treatment to the airways. A nebulizer is a little machine that changes liquid into a mist of fine droplets that are inhaled through a mouthpiece or mask. This sounds way too technical. Just stick to the little gimmicks where you just squirt in one nose and then you just tilt your head over and then it just comes out of the other. And sometimes, hey, if you're working in an especially closed, dirty area, sometimes it's black, sometimes it's brown, sometimes it's gray, sometimes it's yellow. Depends on how sick you are. But yeah, this is wild. Nebulizing also allows for various health promoting compounds to be quickly administered in direct contact with the lungs and entire respiratory system. Makes sense. Hydrogen peroxide, again, enough with your weird stuff, is a mild antiseptic agent that is made up of 2 hydrogen atoms and 2 oxygen atoms. What? Then shouldn't it be dihydrogen dioxide? Well, I guess if you want to be technical, Mr. Internet Actually Police. It is safe, affordable, and mild disinfectant with a wide variety of uses. Yeah, if you need an introduction to hydrogen peroxide, welcome. Hope the sun's not too bright since you've crawled out from behind your rock. H2O2 releases oxygen when applied to the affected area, which causes foaming. This occurs because most living cells contain a catalase, an enzyme which interacts with H2O2 and converts it into water and oxygen. Ergo foam, I guess. Kind of like that baking soda and vinegar volcano. While a quick Google search will reveal many arguments against nebulizing hydrogen peroxide, many holistic practitioners, and again, they'll probably also try to sell you some crystals, so take this with a bucket of, the aforementioned salt. Remember, many agents kill the virus on contact, including hydrogen peroxide, food grade. Yeah, why don't you just inject bleach into your arm? Saline can be prepared by boiling 4 cups of water. Once boiling, remove completely from heat. Again, this sounds just completely preposterous. Just the little plastic thing. You just push and push. Mix until completely dissolved and allowed to cool to room temperature before using. Oh, that reminds me. Use room temperature water. Okay, if you're running water from the tap, and that's exactly what I used all the time. About the middle. Okay, you don't want it too hot, and you definitely don't want it too cold because cold water going into the nose constricts the nasal cavity and it's painful, and I don't recommend it. But if you get too hot, okay, the heat receptacles in your nasal cavity are very sensitive, and it hurts a lot if it's even just a couple of degrees too warm. So if it feels about room temperature on your wrist, you're good to go. No hotter, definitely no colder as well. If you're, just want to bite down on something, you can go a little bit warmer if you want to think that, I don't know, the heat will magically disinfect you better than the salt solution that you're pumping through your nasal cavity. By all means, try it out, but I don't recommend it. And like I said, I've had a pretty good health record, touch wood. Over the past 5 years, I've been using Neti Pots, okay, or whatever the little squirt bottle equivalent is out there. It's cheap. I'd consider it effective. I don't have any studies, okay? This is just anecdotal evidence, but I would highly recommend it, okay? And if you find yourself running into illness on a regular basis, okay, and you want to try something a little bit more holistic than consistently pumping in different antibiotics in your body, give the old nose pod a try. I think it works, and I highly recommend it. But with that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut, get after it. Take care, everyone.